Mismor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar. Binote sheyarbit seini alme menuchot yanachaleni. Nafshi yishovev. Yanacheni v'magle tzedek lema'an shemo. Gam kirelech begitz al mavet. Lo irara ki ata imadi. Shivtecha umishantecha hemayin nachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan neged tsurirai. Dishanta v'shemen roshi kosiri vaya. Ach tov v'chesed yirdifuni kol yamei chayai v'shaviti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. In these moments when we are faced with grief, with hardships, and when we are searching for comfort and strength, we often turn to the psalmist. And so I invite you to recite these words with me at this time. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. God guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Roslyn Glaub. To her daughters, to Fran and to Jan, to her sister Mashi, her nieces Francine and Susan, her nephews Jeff and Barry, to all the members of the family, and to the friends who have gathered here today. We've come together, of course, to remember, but also to celebrate the life of your beloved Roz. Our sages in their wisdom have taught us that birth is a beginning and death a destination, but it's life that is a journey, from childhood to maturity and from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back, we pray, to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat, to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Roslyn's journey began here in Cleveland. She would have celebrated her 88th birthday yesterday. She was born in 1931 to her Russian immigrant parents, Jack and Catherine Rich, and Roz was the youngest of 3 daughters. She and her sister Mashi, who is in San Diego, unable to join us today, and her sister Helen, of blessed memory. All 3 sisters grew up during some of the most challenging, the most difficult years in our nation's history. Their family, all 5 of them, lived in the Glenville neighborhood, and their parents, I am told, were hardworking people, and people who loved their children and their grandchildren fiercely. Roz's childhood was a happy one. She was blessed to have had some very good friends. Now, next door to the Rich family lived the Glaub family. And Gene, although he was 7 years her senior, he noticed her, and Gene and Roz began to date. A courtship ensued and love followed, and in 1949, when Gene was 24 years old and Roz just 17, they married. 14 months later, Fran, you entered into their world. And it took another 5 years, but then Jan came along, completing this beautiful, beautiful family portrait. Your parents were married for 45 years, up until the time of your dad's passing in 1994. And in their 45 years of marriage, your mom and dad, first and foremost, enjoyed their wonderful family, their extended family. They loved family celebrations and holidays. This meant so much to both of them, especially Roz. Your mom and dad bowled together on a couples league, and they played cards regularly with their friends. And Roz and Gene did quite a bit with Roz's sister and brother-in-law, Mashi and Howard, who lived in Cleveland. And they also remained close with her sister and brother-in-law, Helen and Howard, who lived in Indianapolis. Together, Gene and Roz enjoyed taking road trips. Occasionally, they liked to visit Las Vegas. They both enjoyed a little bit of gambling. And Roz had a great love with her Cleveland Indians baseball team. Gene, not so much. But he did like them if they were doing well. But Roz, no matter what, she was devoted and dedicated to her Cleveland Indians. Sometime a little bit later today, you might want to gather with a couple people here and just find a moment to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Roz would have liked that. After 45 years of marriage and Gene's passing, Roz was just in her early 60s. But somehow she found the strength and the courage to carry on. Your mom found the will to move forward in life. Fran and Jan, you recall a mom who may have been small in stature, but you said that she possessed the biggest heart. You shared with me that there was nothing she wouldn't do for the two of you, or for family, or for friends. You described a mom, a family member, as someone who could always be counted on. Not only would she give you the shirt off her back, but she'd give you the Cleveland Indians shirt off her back. Your mom and dad provided a sweet childhood for both of you, growing up on Cole Plaza in Willowick. Your street was a cul-de-sac where kids could play outside without worry. This was a close-knit neighborhood where everybody seemed to know everybody. And your mom had a special place in her heart for your next-door neighbors, the Noby family. You said the Noby boys were like the sons that she never had. And Jan and Fran, you remembered that once you both were in school full-time, your mom would go and work at Higbee's department store downtown. She worked in the receiving department. You have childhood memories of going to the drive-in or going out for ice cream. And you have teenage memories of a mom who would wait up for you when you might stroll in the house a little late, at midnight, or 3 in the morning, or 7 in the morning. And from the stories that her daughters told me, it seems that Fran really never got into too much trouble when those moments came up. But for some reasons I can't explain, Jan always got in trouble. I'm sure they'll be happy to tell you about it later. You shared that your mom was not one who ever drove a car. You remember your dad trying to teach her, but you said, honestly, it was a total disaster. And she just never wanted to drive after that. She found her way by taking the bus, or a cab, or the kindness of a friend who would happily pick her up and take her where she needed to go. She managed. She found her way. And with her dear friend Emma of blessed memory, your mom would go and play bingo. And with her sister Mashi, she would sometimes enjoy a game of Maj. And Roz, of course, like all of us, she had her way, her routine. Her favorite restaurant was always the Chinese food at Chin's Pagoda on Lakeshore Boulevard. She was a woman who possessed a great sense of humor. I think one of the greatest gifts any of us can have. You remember a mom who had the funniest stories. And no matter how many times you two would hear the stories, your mom would happily recycle her best stories to any new audience. She had the heartiest laugh, and her laughter was contagious. As Fran and Jan shared with me, their mom was a mom and a sister, a family member and a friend who was always loving and happy and fun to be with. She didn't take herself too seriously, and when appropriate, she had no trouble making fun of herself in order to make someone else smile or laugh. And through her lighthearted ways, she was still a mom and a loving friend and family member who would always worry about those whom she loved. She just wanted the best for you. Roz's Jewish identity was very important to her. Passover Seders at Mashi's and all the holidays with her wonderful extended family, this meant the world to her. And even up until this last September, Roz observed the Yom Kippur fast. Traditions were important to Roz Glaub. Family and traditions, and making this world just a bit brighter, just a bit more joyful, and just a bit happier. This is what was important to your beloved Roz. I'm fairly certain that the poet Ralph Waldo Emerson did not know Roz Glaub. But when I read these words to you, penned by Emerson, you may think he had her in mind. Emerson writes the following about what it means to be a success. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden path, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded. And Roz did. I want to share with you a brief song that's in Hebrew and in English. The name of the piece is Yesh Kochavim. This means there are stars. This piece of poetry was written by Hannah Senesh. Hannah Senesh was a Hungarian Jewish girl who grew up in Nazi-occupied Hungary in the 30s. She fought for the Hungarian freedom fighters underground and then managed to escape to Israel. And this brave young lady, at merely 19 or 20 years old, volunteered to be trained and paratroop behind enemy lines to try and help rescue those oppressed by the Nazis in Hungary. She was caught, tortured, and killed at their hands. But her poetry, her beautiful, optimistic, youthful poetry lives on. I think these words are very true in thinking of Roz today. There are stars up above, So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד בתוכנו. אורות אלה המבהיקים בחשכת הליל, הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember, we remember, we remember, we remember. Our tradition teaches us that words which come from the heart enter directly to the heart. At this time, I'd like to call on a dear friend of the family, Scott Noby, who has words in his heart today he wants to share with all of us.
Thanks. Well, I guess the word that describes Roz the most would be love. You know, you hear a lot about, how she loved the Noby boys. Quite truthfully, she loved everybody in here. I mean, if you knew Roz and you had kids, she loved you. She loved their kids, their neighbors, anybody that would talk to her. At the family parties, we would sit her down with my dad, who's pretty well along with dementia. They would talk about God knows what for a half hour, but they had a conversation. It's really something. She showed us love from, I've known her my whole life. The big gauge was I'm almost as tall as Roz. I mean, she was 4'3", 4'4", something like that, 4'5" at the most. And, you know, and now you see my brothers having kids, and they were all, hey, I'm almost tall as Roz. You know, it's not that big of a deal, guys. But she loved all of us, and it's how many people you know in your life that completely love you, and you love them back, and she was that person. She loved us. She loved our pets. I mean, at 77 years old, my brother took his life, and she took on the responsibility of a 130-pound Doberman. What 77-year-old does that? You know what I mean? But the only thing she didn't have, she would talk about Fran and Janet all the time. She just would, you could tell she really missed Gene from 60 years old on, and now she could be with him, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I've been hearing this week, oh my God, Scott, you're the one that found her. Oh, it's so bad. I told several people, I don't feel that it was that bad. I'm glad I found her. I mean, she knew that we can handle it. We do the right thing. And coincidentally, on the same day, the Indians won on a walk-off home run. Which, there was no horrific scene when I got there last Wednesday. She was basically, I thought she was asleep. She had her favorite red running outfit on. Her favorite rainbow boots, and you just got to hope that she saw that home run and, did her own little walk-off home run herself, 88 years old, didn't have really much money, so to speak. She had enough money to give us our usual $7.25 in our birthday card with a crap load of glitter, just enough to be annoying, She thought it was funny. We thought it was funny. We moved on to next year. But yeah, I've been saying it all week. That's kind of how I want to go. This is my sleep. Very peaceful, nothing violent, and knowing that we're all behind her. So, love your eyes.
Oh, Scott, thank you. That was so sweet. Really, $7.25?
You got more every year as you got older.
Okay. What sweet memories. Thank you so much. I know that means the world to Jan and to Fran and the whole family. Friends, we take a moment now of silence as we think about Roz and ask God to receive her soul. And as you are able, I invite you to rise for the memorial prayer, El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, shochen במרומים, המסמנו חנכנה תחת כנפך השכינה, במלאות קדושים וטהורים, גזוכר הרקיע המזהירים, את נשמת יקירנו רחל, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן תחי מנוחתה, ענה בה הרחמים אסתירך, בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרורך ימת נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. O merciful God, who dwells on high and who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament, to our dear departed Roslyn Glaub, who has gone now to her eternal home. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that her memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we can say, Amen. Friends, I would like to share with you that we will be processing to the Western Reserve Memorial Garden. After the internment, the family will have instructions for you as to where they are gathering. Anyone who wishes to make a contribution in memory of Roz, the family has suggested that you might consider the Jewish National Fund or, of course, a charity of your choice. On behalf of their family, we thank you for your love and your support on this sad and very important day.